For this video, we're exploring how to brew April coffee using Ibrik brewer. Welcome, my name is Patrick Rolfe and this is Coffee with April. This time, we're gonna dive into one of the oldest brewing methods there is, arguably one of the most used brewing methods still today, being the Ibrik brewer. Now, this is interesting for a lot of different reasons. Personally, I've been traveling a lot to Istanbul and Turkey in the past. I've been traveling to the Middle East as well. And whenever you do, you come across this, and you come across this in people's homes, but also in especially a coffee shop in that part of the world. So we thought it would be really interesting to kind of dive into trying to make our own version of this when it comes to a recipe. One of my good friends, Vasim, he has a coffee shop in Berlin called Ben Rahim. They do this, and he was actually the first one to introduce me to a more kind of specialty coffee or modern approach to the brewing, and they have some great results using square mile filter coffees. So we've been talking with my friends around the coffee world, asking for tips and tricks, and spending a better part of this week or last week actually coming up with new recipes, and we're here to kind of share our recipe with you here today. Now, this is gonna go a bit quick. There's a lot of things to consider. So first, just some simple kind of notes of what we're doing. First of all, you obviously need an Ibrik. These comes in a few different variations. We're gonna make sure to link to our favorite ones down below and also reference it in the video. We're using 6 grams of coffee. As always, when you do things, coffee is very important. Your brewed coffee is not better than the roasted coffee you're using. In this specific brew, we're using our latest Colombian coffee, an aerobic processed pink bourbon from Zacatin. Very kind of fruity, very sweet, a lot of yellow notes, very clean, which goes well with this type of brew method, at least our approach to it. Now, grinding for this is always going to be widely discussed, regardless of where you go in the world. We use a Comandante. We've done 3 clicks, again on a 6 gram dose, which is a very, very fine grind setting. Now, in our experience, going from, for example, 2 to 5 clicks doesn't make a massive difference. But we find after just trial and error that 3 is kind of where we want to be. We're using, we're gonna pour a total of 60 grams of water, so basically using a 1:10 ratio. The water we're gonna pour on sits at 65 degrees Celsius. And we're gonna start by doing that, and we're pouring it straight into a cold Ibrik. Now, there is a few examples of people that are actually preheating the Ibrik to get a slightly faster extraction, which makes a lot of sense. However, when we try to do that, we're not able to replicate the brew we've done multiple times. So I find it easier to start with a cold one, adding hot water, which kind of regulates the total time of the brew time. Pouring in the coffee. Now the coffee is very, very fine, so we're gonna see plenty of lumps here. So after I poured it in the water, I'm gonna make sure to stir it properly, making sure that all of the coffee gets exposed to the water. From there, I'm gonna put my burner on. Now, these are always a bit of a challenge, and they are better versions to use specifically for this brew method. The issue with this is that it's harder to replicate, obviously, your brews from brew to brew. So we're gonna make sure the flame goes on. We're popping this on top. And then we're starting our timer. Now, what we're looking at here is basically for the coffee to go up once. So traditionally, when you brew with Ibrik, you're actually gonna let the coffee go up 3 times. So you basically put it in a heat source, you let it boil up, you take it off, you put it back on, you let it boil up, you take it off, you put it back on, right? Now this process obviously delivers a very, very intense cup of coffee, a bit too intense in our case. So we're kind of taking this, the same route as we would do with our kind of modern espresso, where what we're actually doing is making sure that we have a faster total brew time than on a traditional brew. So we're gonna be right above 1 minute in terms of total brew time when we see the first kind of part of the coffee go up. And from there, we're basically going to be done. And the reason for this is because it gives you a lot of cleaner character in this beverage. Now, I wouldn't argue this is a clean coffee to begin with, but you can make it cleaner. So we're right above 1 minute. I'll see the coffee actually go up here. And when it goes up, be a bit careful. This will go quick and you need to be ready to kind of pull it off so it doesn't boil all over you. So we're at 1 minute 20 and they were done. We're turning off the burner, pouring it in the specially made cup for it, making sure to tilt the cup, pour on the edge. We pour relatively fast. Now you're obviously gonna have all of the sediment still in the cup, but the cup is actually formed for that to kind of lay in the bottom. And part of the trick with this now is that you need to give it plenty of time because it's gonna be very, very warm. So this is not something you wanna drink directly. You let it cool down, and with that, the sediment is also gonna go down in the cup. And I think what's interesting here is that you're able to kind of fuse this traditional kind of sense of stronger coffee together with actually being able to really taste the origin, the varietal, and the processing in this coffee. Because in the end of the day, for us, that is what's matter, right? What you want to do is you want to be able to taste the coffee down to the farm level when you're drinking it, regardless of brew method. So this recipe is arguably maybe a bit more modern than what we're used to in the world of Ibrik brewing, but it generates these really clean, well-structured coffees. And it's actually one of my kind of favorite experiences, especially when I go out to different coffee shops around the world, because it's something really interesting in the time it takes to drink one of those. You really sit down and it's a very social aspect of it. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have been brewing this before. We also have a lot of other recipes coming up on our Patreon. And we would love to hear your thoughts and your comments on it. So feel free to comment below. What is your favorite Ibrik recipe? Where do you recommend us to look for to be able to brew better Ibriks as well? And yeah, we'd love to hear your experience when trying this at home. So with that, thank you for watching. And as always, a special thank to all of our Patreons out there. We want to give a special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we are able to continue to make these videos. And we want you all to feel free to always come with suggestions and ideas on the content that you want to see, because we are doing this for you and because of you. Thank you from all of us here at April.